Good afternoon. Good afternoon. My name is Jim Conlan, and welcome to the latest episode of our entertainment show. As you know, in our entertainment show, we've been building up for the last 2 weeks of our debut of season 2 of our Stargate sci-fi cult classics documentary. As you know, season 1 was a huge success, 38 episodes in total. We spoke to everyone from Robert Picardo to Robert Davi to Terrell Rozier to Tori Higgins to John Flanagan. We're back now for season 2. We have a great cast lined up in terms of actors and actresses sharing their memories of their time in Stargate. We've spoken to people. As you know, the documentary features Stargate, the original movie, Stargate SG1, Stargate Atlantis, Stargate Origins, Stargate Universe. And at this special episode now, we're delighted to be joined by the one and only April Telek, who played the role of Sallis in Stargate SG1, anti-Ori underground movement, and her body actually was, her consciousness body was put into body played by Claudia Black, who was trapped in her body in the episode Avalon. April, first of all, Stargate SG1, you came into it late on in terms of season 8, season 9, in terms of that environment. Had you tried out previously in earlier seasons for different roles? Were you based in Vancouver at the time, or was it just the case that this opportunity came about for you in a time that you were in Vancouver, or did you travel up from Los Angeles in terms of a talent agent where you sort of sourced out for the role?
But do you know what year I shot this? I don't.
I think it was around 2000, and it was in the final year, 2005, 2006.
Okay, so yeah, so I was living in Vancouver then. But oh my goodness, I cannot tell you how many times I read for that show. I auditioned to the point where I had to tell my agent, like, I can't audition anymore for this because it's too much. Like I had read for probably 20 parts.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, and then I was doing I did a TV series, and so then I wasn't available for a couple of years, and then when that was done, I was doing different sci-fi shows and stuff like that, and still I couldn't get arrested when it came to Stargate. And then one day, boom, I get this audition for Sallis, and I ended up booking it. But it had been, oh gosh, like literally dozens of roles before I booked it. So, but it was something that everybody wanted to be part of. When they were shooting the first episode in Vancouver, there's a hotel in Vancouver that many actors stay at, like the production puts them up at most, and or it used to be anyway. I was at that time shooting something else, and some of my co-stars were staying at the hotel, so we were all in the lounge in the bar having a cocktail, and this group of people came in, and it turned out it was like Michael and Christopher and Amanda, and like a huge bunch of the Stargate cast, regular cast, and we all sort of became friends, and that was at the very, very, very beginning. So from that moment on, I had wanted to be part of the show. I knew, like, I was friends with so many people, and I just never got on it until I got on it.
And you mentioned that in terms of the Vancouver scene, obviously the two big sci-fi shows at that time were Stargate and Battlestar Galactica. They were the sort of two major sort of shows in that time. And obviously, in terms of that, Stargate after season 2 or season 3, it sort of took off not only in Canada but USA and all over the world. Did you feel maybe when you landed that role in Stargate SG1 to have that on your resume? It almost feels like for you, hearing about a 20 episode, it was a burning ambition, a burning torch to get that in terms of your resume, in terms of fulfillment in that role. Did you feel after landing that role that you had achieved something that you were pining to achieve for so many years in terms of appearing on it?
Well, okay, to be honest, and not to sound at all snotty. I had done much bigger roles than this role. So it was not necessarily a professional ambition at that point. It was more of a personal ambition at that point. I mean, I certainly recognized the status that the show had and the audience that the show had, but at that point it was more personal because I had done, you know, bigger stuff. But I was so excited. I will never forget how excited I was when I got that part. I was thrilled.
And did you love being delved into that Shakespearean sort of world and medieval sort of world, wearing those sort of costumes, reenacting characters maybe of the 1700 sort of century? Did it take you back to that childhood girl sitting in a teaching class in 5th year and 6th year, learning from your history teacher about Celtics and medieval sort of world? In that, did you love that sort of whole fantasy escape, dare I say?
Oh, I love that kind of stuff. Costumes, like period pieces and things like that have always sort of been, well, for the most part of my career, like a huge part of my career, I did period pieces. Like I've played characters from multiple centuries. And so it felt like that was the 100% right role for me at that time, because that was just sort of in my wheelhouse. I loved that. I loved the costume. I loved the energy. And, you know, I mean, the cast was so great and the director was so great. And yeah, it was fun. I loved it.
And obviously, in terms of the sets, were you sort of blown away in terms of studio lots, in terms of how quick they were able to assemble sort of these sort of villages, these sort of medieval sort of lots, in terms of the block shooting and the locations shooting, and be able to take these environments, take them out of the studio lot and put them up somewhere in the wilderness and Greater British Columbia and create this sort of environment out of next to nothing?
I know it's fascinating to me. It, like, to this day, and I've done like motion capture work also. So like I've gone through that whole process, like the green, you know, it fascinates me how they are able to do that, because the set on its own in the studio was special, but then to put it into a different location and seamlessly, I mean, that's talented people behind the scenes doing the work, right?
Yeah. And in terms of working alongside Claudia Black, in terms of the female sort of chemistry, and obviously she was portrayed this sort of jovial sort of character, in terms that, did you feel that sort of bond, were you able to build that sort of rapport even between takes? So she very much, the character she portrayed on screen, very much that sort of jovial, fun-loving sort of character in between sets as well? Do you have that sort of female connection between the two of you?
Oh yeah, I mean, I really liked Claudia a lot. Like she's got this dry, sort of almost sardonic kind of wit, and she's smart and playful, and I really liked her. Yeah, she was I mean, I don't want to say that she was like her character, but like she is smart like her character. She was funny like her character. So there's that kind of stuff. But you know, I mean, I hesitate a bit because actors are like, we take on other people. Now, often the roles that are our most iconic roles, or the roles that sort of are part of our legacy, are the roles that are often closest to ourselves. But she was lovely. I liked her a lot. And I have to say this. So Amanda and I didn't have any scenes together, but she has directed me in other things. Women can be sometimes possessive, or there can be sort of a funny thing on set between women at times. I have experienced it, and it's been like hurtful and sad to me at the end of the day, because that's not how I approach things. But on Stargate, there was not one single woman that I knew, either personally or professionally, that was anything other than completely welcoming and warm, like really nice. So, I mean, working with Claudia was fabulous. Yeah, it was great. She was great.
And April, in terms of your character, Sallis, obviously she met a sad demise. She was burned at the stake in terms of not before Vela escaped her sort of consciousness body. When you started the storyline of your character, and obviously that was the case at that time where people were suspected as witches and burned at the sort of stake. We only have to look at the Jane of Eyre's type sort of scenario, sort of such. How did you feel the sort of, dare I say, the character unfold before your eyes and the demise? You think that was sort of fitting way for her to bow out of the show, dare I say?
Well, I mean, I would have loved not to have died, because then, you know, I could have come back.
Yeah.
But you know, I mean, the show had such great, creative, talented writers and story editors, and everything was always meant to be the way it was supposed to be. Like, you know, characters came and went because they needed to serve the story.
And April, there's two penultimate questions for you now. The second last one. Let's pretend there was a Stargate encyclopedia, a dictionary and sort of such, and they were creating this Stargate encyclopedia, and they're putting all the fictional characters that appeared throughout the years in this dictionary. And they came across your character, Sallis, and they left 2 blank sentences underneath the synopsis to describe her. What would you like those 2 sentences to read?
Oh my God. I don't know. Jeez Louise. I have no idea. That was so long ago. I can't answer that. I don't know.
What,
I mean,
what in your own mind, in your own mind, what would you, in your own mind, if you describe Sallis as a person to your own daughter, say, or your own son in 2 sentences, how would you describe her?
I can't even answer. I'm sorry. I can't answer that. It's so long ago. I'm not going to lie. I haven't seen even the clips for like a long time.
Okay.
I don't know, James. You
Okay. No
sorry,
problem.
I don't have an answer for you. Like, you know, I mean, I always believe, like, there's no character that I've ever done that I didn't think that character was doing the best they could with the knowledge that they had.
Okay, that's perfect. That's perfect. April, lastly, before I let you go for the final 30 seconds, have you any unique story, any unique blooper, any unique funny moment between cast members that's special to you, that when you think back at Stargate, that still makes you laugh to this sort of day, or think of that person from your time back in Stargate, maybe an interaction with one of the cast members, maybe something that happened in set or something that still makes you laugh and is unique to you, personal to you?
Well, I mean, I had great personal relationships with so much of the cast, not necessarily like because of my experience on the show, but because of my experience before I was on the show. And I gotta say, Christopher Judge threw the best Super Bowl parties ever.
Okay. On that note, Christopher Judge is a big American football fan. That's a revelation there by April Telek, and apparently his Super Bowl parties are ones not to forget ever. April, on that note, an absolute pleasure talking to you today to relive your memories of your time on Stargate, playing the character Sallis in the episode Avalon, important part of the Stargate franchise, playing the anti-Aura underground movement. Thanks for sharing your memories with us today. No doubt it was a special time for you. No doubt you still have fond memories of talking about that time, that episode, and we're thanks for enlightening us with your stories, with your memories, and take care, stay safe, and God bless.
God bless you. Thanks, James.